They switched places at my wedding and everyone let it happen. We rented out a B&B for our wedding, filled with our friends and my fiance's family. I used to think the strangest part of the entire thing was how stiff my new husband seemed during the vows. He smiled, sure, but it didn't reach his eyes. His voice shook a little and his hands were clammy. Nothing like the man I knew, the one I'd built a quiet, loving life with. We'd been together for 5 years. I thought I knew every inch of him. I assumed he was nervous because his twin brother, who was supposed to be his best man, hadn't shown up for the ceremony. They were identical and inseparable. Everyone always joked about how they used to switch classes in high school, confuse dates, even pull pranks on their own parents. But I never thought of it more than harmless pranks when they were kids. It wasn't until the next morning at the wedding brunch that I started to feel a knot in my chest. His aunt, a little tipsy on mimosas, leaned over to me and said, "You must really love them both, huh?" I laughed politely. She raised her eyebrows and added, "I still can't believe they pulled it off." My smile froze. "Pulled what off?" I asked, but she brushed it off and changed the subject. Later, I asked my husband what she meant, and he shrugged, saying, "She's just old and confused. Probably meant the bachelor party or something." At first, I chalked it up to nerves, stress, but one night, while putting away laundry, I found a note tucked in his suit jacket pocket from the wedding. It was written in handwriting I didn't recognize. All it said was, "You looked great up there. You always do a better job at pretending to be him." I couldn't breathe. Still, I hesitated. Maybe it was a bad joke between brothers. Maybe I was spiraling over nothing. I asked him again, more directly, if anything strange had happened at the wedding. This time he got angry, defensive, told me I was being paranoid, that I was trying to ruin a good thing. He said, "You never had a family growing up, so you don't understand what it's like to have someone that close." That was the first time I felt something break between us. I told him I'd drop it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Eventually, I reached out to his cousin. I said I just needed to know. She didn't deny it. She said she hadn't realized I didn't know since their whole family did. Apparently the groom had gotten sick, probably still hungover, just before the ceremony, and his brother offered to step in. She said, "It was only for the ceremony. He didn't want to ruin the pictures." I felt physically ill. Now I don't know what to do. How do I confront him about this? Update. In my previous post, half the replies told me to let it go. The other half told me to run. I didn't know what to do. Now I know. I should have run. I kept digging after his cousin told me the truth, and the more I uncovered, the more my skin crawled. I started thinking back to little inconsistencies, how he once forgot the name of my college roommate, even though we talked about her a dozen times, or how he suddenly didn't know where we kept the salt. I even found a copy of his twins' gym membership tucked into my husband's drawer. When I finally confronted him, armed with the timeline and proof, he didn't even deny it. He said, "You're acting like this is some kind of betrayal. It was harmless. I needed a break and you got what you wanted." We both showed up. I asked him how long it had been going on. He said, "Since the beginning." They had been switching places, intimately, emotionally, for years. I had married 2 people without knowing. I had built a life with a stranger half the time, and I didn't know who I was in love with, if either of them. I told him to get the hell out of our home and that I was done with him. I felt so alone. I cried for days. Then, it got worse. His brother came to me, said he was sorry and that he had always loved me, and he'd be honored to take me on a proper date once the divorce went through. I laughed in his face. Then I cried. Then I called my lawyer. We're working on an annulment. Apparently, it might not even be a valid marriage if I didn't knowingly marry the right person, which I didn't. I'm in therapy now. I keep trying to forgive myself for not seeing it sooner, for letting love cloud my instincts. But the truth is, when you grow up with no real family, when someone offers you stability, you cling to it. But at least I learned you don't need to know who broke you to walk away. You just need to know you deserve better.